Okay, I got time to float along until I reach the water. Falling down, I wonder if I'll burn out when I hit the bottom. Every day I'm swimming through the galaxy, I feel the heat. The sun is shining through the blinds and washing over me. I see the giants waving me on over.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. This is a little bit different from my old Master videos. This is gonna be a reaction video. I just saw this from Duologs. As you know, Duologs, he makes some videos on failed archetypes. I know he made one on the Egyptian gods. DZ also does something similar, like why nobody plays Dark Magician, why nobody plays the Egyptian gods, but Duologs doing a 30-minute video on failed cards. It's a long video. We're gonna see what he says about the archetype. The evolution
For all of this,
gonna be pretty much like an evolution of the archetype, and we're gonna go through my reactions, my inputs. But yeah, let's get into
received
it.
throughout its lifespan, the OG of Yu-Gi-Oh! Can't put it all together. Or in this case, it did, but then it went nowhere. So before you guys burn us at the stake, grab your Hogwarts wand, set hexes on us, and tell us to get good with everyone's favorite bad deck, watch this video and see why Dark Magician failed severely in the TCG. To start off, we'll review the cards that came out in 2014 and up. The viable support that was actually used for the Dark Magician. There's no need to look back on anything before then, as nothing before 2014 for Dark Magician was viable.
Nothing before 2014, so we only... Everybody's saying Dark Magician has so much support. Everything before 2014, Duologs was like... this is even failed. Like 10 years ago, we started getting like Rod and stuff, I think, in Legendary Magicians, but...
No one was gambling on Time Wizard to make Dark Sage in any top tournament. Skilled Dark Magician and spell counter mechanics was awful back in the days.
Yeah.
Dark Eradicator Warlock wasn't worth it.
I remember, sorry for pausing so much, but I remember I got the Yu-Gi-Oh! Starter Deck Reloaded in like 2012, and it had Skilled Dark Magician as that was like the best way to get Dark Magician out. So I remember the Skilled Dark Magician and activating spells and doing stuff like that.
Built in, and no one was going out of the way to play Dark Magician just to equip magic formula to it. The last thing anyone does in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is read, so why would you force your monster to do it? The only way any Dark Magician saw play was if its name was Dark Magician of Chaos and enabled FTKs. Some cards did see some sort of testing, if any play at all, when the new Dark Magician support came out, like Thousand Knives, Dark Magic Attack, and everyone's top waifu, Dark Magician Girl. These cards would pop up occasionally, as you'll see throughout the video. The quest to make Dark Magician top tier started with Dragons of Legend series. Dark Magician received a new fusion monster called Amulet Dragon, a level 8 dragon that required a Dark Magician and a dragon monster, or just using the card released with it in Dragon of Legends, the Eye of Timaeus, to special summon.
Oh, Eye of Timaeus.
Any amount of spells in any graveyards to have it gain 100 attack.
Eye of Timaeus, not searchable.
Destroyed, you can target a spellcaster in your grave and special summon it. The Eye of Timaeus was a normal spell card that targeted one Dark Magician monster you control and lets you fusion summon one fusion monster from your deck that lists the monster on the field as a fusion material, using it as the fusion material. The Eye of Timaeus was actually a beast of a card. With just one Dark Magician, you had access to almost Dark Magician monster-based fusions.
Everyone.
Which included cards like Dark Paladin and Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight, if you also ran Dark Magician Girl as well. Amulet Dragon, though, had a mid-effect. It also didn't help that by around 2014, the meta flowed with more heavy trap format decks like Hat floating around. It's not like Dark Magician players had much to build Dark Magician with anyway. It was just 2 cards and the dumpster fire of old spells and monsters they had before 2014. The heartbreaking part is that Eye of Timaeus didn't see play, and it's mainly for awful specific wording on one card that was given a long.
So if you know Eye of Timaeus, you cannot search it with Rod, you cannot search it with Soul Servant because it says target one Dark Magician monster you control. All they have to do to fix this, all Konami had to do to fix this was say target one Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl you control, and then it'll be searchable by everything else in the archetype. And Eye of Timaeus probably would see some play to this day because it would be good like normal summon Rod. You could like turbo out. You might even play this at 3, to be honest, but if we don't have like a fusion from next spell, but
alongside the Dark Magician support in the Dark Illusion in August 2016. But before Dark Illusion, Konami released an XCs that solidified their attempt to make Yugi's top partner viable. Ebon Illusion Magician was a rank 7 spellcaster XC.
This card is also really cool.
2100 defense. It required 2 level 7 monsters, but could also be summoned by using a rank 6 spellcaster Xyz
You can
monster.
use Naruto with
Once
this.
per turn, you can detach an Xyz to special summon a normal spellcaster from your hand or deck. And if a normal spellcaster monster declared an attack, you can target one card your opponent controls and banish it. This card was originally released in 2014 as a Shonen Jump promotion card, but was then introduced into the Shining Victory Special Edition boxes. The rank 6 condition was supposed to be supplemented by using Magi Magician Girl.
Oh, Magi Magician Girl. So this card, I don't think we're ever gonna get this card in TCG or Master Duel. This card is an OCG exclusive. Yeah. Since the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh unfortunately passed away, I don't think we're gonna get like these cards that are made specifically by him. He owns the artwork, so yeah. But Magi Girl, fortunately, goes -1. If it didn't go -1, its effects would be pretty good. Stealing a monster your opponent controls or stealing a monster in their graveyard could be pretty good, but he goes -1.
But that card was never released due to the wishes of Kazuki Takahashi not
Yeah.
wanting the card to be edited.
He explains it right there.
Release,
Yeah.
and neither did we. Nonetheless, we had another option to summon Ebon Illusion Magician thanks to Norito, the
Yeah,
Blue
Naruto.
Ribbon, being another rank 6 Xyz monster available in the TCG, and the effect that was just as good as Magigal, as Naruto detach materials and negate the activation of your opponent's spell and trap cards. So the Dark Magician fan club had something to
Well, with
look forward to,
Apprentice.
having
Apprentice
2
is
boss
probably
monsters
enough
look forward
veil.
to using 3 if your deck included Dark Paladin. However, as stated before, thanks to some terrible wording, this would come back to bite the deck.
Yeah. So I think Dark Illusion is when Rod gets released, and then they're gonna be like, "Why can't I search Ayatomize with Rod?" That's pretty much what
The
it's
Dark
probably gonna
Illusion
be.
set gave Dark Magician main deck searchers and extenders that had Dark Magician players thankful for not needing to play.
The Rod and Robe, probably.
Magician's Rod was
Yeah.
a level 3 spellcaster that on normal summon allowed you to add a spell or trap from your deck to your hand that specifically lists the Dark Magician card in its card text. When this card is in your grave during your opponent's turn, if you activate a spell or trap, you contribute 1 spellcaster monster to the side of the field and add this card back to your hand. Magician Robes lets you special summon a Dark Magician
Robe.
from your deck by discarding a spell or trap on your opponent's
Why
turn.
is it only
Also,
opponent's
during your
turn?
opponent's if you activate a spell or trap or card effect, you can special summon this card from your grave but banish it when it leaves the field. Rod still sees play today as it serves
Yeah.
for any Dark Magician support. Well, almost any. This is where the Eye of Timaeus got the short end of the wand. Rod could
Short
have
end of
served
the
for
wand.
Eye of
That's a good
Timaeus
joke.
because Eye of Timaeus listed a Dark Magician monster and not the card called Dark Magician. That one little detail made it difficult to play Eye of Timaeus in the deck, as you'd likely have to draw into the spell since you couldn't search it with Rod. This really hindered making Amulet Dragon or Dark Paladin. To
And
round out the
every
main deck
one of our
monsters,
other
Magician of
fusions.
Dark Illusion was a level 7.
Oh,
dark
and this is
spellcaster.
cool
It
too.
was treated as Dark Magician on the field, and once per turn, you can activate
Is
each
navigation
effects.
released in
During
this
your
set?
opponent's turn, if you activate a spell or trap effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. If you activate a spell, trap, or effect, you can target Dark Magician in your grave and special summon it, but you can only use this effect once while it's face up on the field. To make Dark Magician suitable for the Xyz format, Konami made sure Dark Magician could fit in by giving the deck an Xyz monster. Ebon High Magician was a rank 7 spellcaster with 2300 attack and 2500 defense that required 2 level 7 spellcasters as its materials. While it had materials, you could activate a quick play spell or trap card from your hand by detaching Xyz material from this card during activation. If it's destroyed by battle or sent to the graveyard by opponent's card effect, you could special summon a dark spellcaster from your deck or hand, then pop 1 card on the field. Dark Magical Circle was one of the Dark Magician's spellcards. That, on activation, lets you look at the top 3 cards of your deck to select 1 Dark Magician or a spell.
So Circle is almost 9 years old. Can you imagine that? This card is almost a decade old because I think this is 2015. Almost a decade old Circle, and we still play it to this day in a 2024 deck. Most of the time, I've seen like we've seen like there's like branded DM builds in TCG that don't play this card. Loza just uploaded his Gold Sark DM that doesn't play this card, but in most DM decks, this is the bread and butter. Circle banish every turn.
To your hand, while the rest go back to the top of your deck in any order.
9 years
also,
old.
Once per turn, when a Dark Magician is special summoned, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and banish it. Dark Magic Expanded was a quick play spell card.
And
which you can apply
Expanded,
any number of
wasted
effects based on
potential
how many
there.
Dark Magicians or Dark Magician girls are on the field or in the graveyard. If 1, a Dark Spellcaster gains 1000 attack until the end of the turn. 2 or more made your opponent unable to respond to your activated spell and trap cards or effects, and card effects can't destroy your spell and trap cards. If 3 or more, all of your Dark Spellcaster monsters are unaffected by opponent's card effects.
It should have been
until
like
the
a
end of the turn.
continuous
Illusion
spell
Magic
or
is a
a.
quick play spell that lets you tribute a
Yeah, Illusion
spellcaster
Magic
to
is
add up
good.
to 2 Dark Magicians from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And finally, Magician's
Oh
Navigation.
yeah,
perhaps with
navigation.
Dark
Yeah.
Illusion support. This trap lets you special summon one Dark Magician from your hand, and then one level 7 or lower spellcaster monster from your
So
deck.
this is before
Also,
Eternal
if you control
Soul.
Dark Magician, except on the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish from your grave to target one spell or trap card your opponent controls and negate its effects until the end of the turn. The first wave of Dark Magician support was impressive.
Yeah.
Magician's Rod was a solid searcher outside of the blunder made with the Eye of Timaeus. The Dark Magic Circle combined with Magician's Navigation or Magician's Robe was an excellent way to interrupt your opponent's plays.
Were people playing Robe back then? I don't know. I know people were playing Navigation with Circle, definitely. You probably were on 3 Navigation, 3 Circle, 3 Rod. I don't know if we were on 3 Illusion Magic, because the problem with Robe is that you have to discard. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, I'd probably just play Illusion Magic and search Dark Magician. I don't know if there's like other normal summon searcher like Summoner's Art that can search Dark Magician as well.
Dark Magician to the field during your opponent's turn to activate Circle's effective banish.
For one banish.
However, it still had a bit of flaws. Circle's search effect was a complete RNG game,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it only worked if a card with Dark Magician in its text was in the top 3 cards of your deck.
So
it
no
didn't
monsters.
really allow you to dig through your deck, and if you whiffed, you'd gain nothing from playing it. It doesn't help that both of Circle's effects were also hard once per turns, so seeing multiple of these cards could become a brick. To make this even more problematic, the deck was too slow to get into their boss monster. Though the deck had a plethora of options to work during your opponent's turn, it was difficult going into your boss monster with the Eye of Timaeus being unsearchable and Magician of Dark Illusion almost being unsummonable on your turn for Xyz plays. Dark Magician was clearly favored as a control deck with a few flaws. Palladium Oracle Mahad and Palladium Oracle Mana debuted in the Dark Side of Dimensions movie pack.
Wait,
Mahad could be special
are we
summoned
already-
with Druid. When it battles
we're already up to Dark Side of Dimensions? He just really? Okay.
Dark Monster, its attack is doubled during the damage.
Dark Side
step. If
Dimensions
it's
really
destroyed by
that
battle or
old
card
of a
effect, You
movie?
can special summon a Dark Magician from your hand, deck, or graveyard.
When
Mana
did
can
Dark
be
Side of
special
Dimensions
summoned if your
come
opponent activates a card effect that targets one spellcaster you control. It prevents your level
Dark Side of
7 and higher
Dimensions is
spellcaster from being
2016?
destroyed by
That's
card effects,
crazy.
And if it's destroyed by battle or card effects, special summon
Alright,
a
so
Dark
Mahad, we probably like Mahad, we've talked about a long time ago. It misses time with Upstart. Mana we're never gonna get probably never gonna get, but in Master Duel, for some reason. But yeah.
Magician Girl from your hand, deck, or graveyard. While both cards help summon Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl, their summoning conditions were too specific to be consistent. Mahad was a dead card in opening hands and missed timing if drawn through card effects like Allure of Darkness or Sacred Sword of Seven Stones.
He doesn't talk about Upstart because I think Upstart's limited to 1 here, I think. Or is it banned? Not sure.
They had a more likely chance of clogging your hand than actually being helpful.
Yeah.
Mana's effects required spellcasters to be targeted and only one. And it was another case of a card needing your opponent to interact with yours to be playable.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it stopped whatever targeted your monster to not resolve either. You'd just be playing a card that could possibly net you a Dark Magician Girl, which the deck didn't revolve around. The weirdest part about the Dark Side Dimension movie pack was that the card that helped Dark Magician the most was Dark Magic Veil,
Oh my
an indirect spell card that lets you pay 1,000 life points to
Budget.
summon a Dark Spellcaster.
Budget
from
Eternal
your
Soul.
They might as well just put Dark Magician on its name, as this card has mostly seen play in just this archetype. In Legendary Decks 2, the deck would receive one of its most well-known trap cards.
Eternal Soul.
And Dark Birdie Magic Attack donned the title as support to help Dark Magician. Eternal Soul was the main star out of the two. This can
Eternal Soul wiping our field, yes. Had to be balanced for 2016. The Dark Birding Magic, they didn't really bond teachers to it later, so Dark Birding Magic is just like so bad and unsearchable, and these bonds sets us up, but Eternal Soul,
continuous trap card prevented every Dark Magician in your monster zone from
that second effect is so power crept.
Its effect lets you special summon a Dark Magician from your hand or grave, or add 1,000 Knives or Dark Magic Attack from your deck to your hand. If you think this card sounds too good, that's because we've yet to tell you what happens if this card is removed from the field, where all monsters on your side of the field are destroyed as well. One of the best cards printed for the archetype is also its worst enemy.
Yep.
This card is a double-edged sword that
Eva's
leaves
Seed, it's
mandatory to run in your
over.
deck even to this day. Dark Birdie Magic Attack was a quick play spell that can destroy all cards your opponent controls
Eva's
if
Seed,
you control
it's
monsters
over.
whose original names are Dark
Say
Magician
goodbye.
and Dark Magician Girl. While this card was devastating with the ability to completely board wipe your opponent's field, the requirements made it difficult and strict. Outside of Magician's Navigation, it was difficult to get both cards on the field simultaneously, and play another Brick and Dark Magician Girl. Also, the requirements made Magician of Dark Illusion even more worthless to play, as the card requires a monster whose original name is Dark Magician.
Yeah.
So overall, the archetype gained one of its best and worst cards.
Best and worst card.
That made you play extra cards and activate.
That's how you talk about Eternal Soul.
Here, as you can see why this game plan failed, since Dark Magician players...
Bro, he's ending it. So we're in 2016. Just think of it. We're in 2016. We have Circle and Eternal Soul. We have the triangle, and we're playing this triangle. We're playing the triangle for the next 8 years. And he's saying it's already failed because if you pop Eternal Soul, we lose our entire field and we lose the game probably. Yeah, that's pretty much the crux of the problem with Dark Magician. We lose Eternal Soul, we lose the game. Especially in these higher power formats where we need Eternal Soul to be banishing every turn. We need Eternal Soul to not be popped. And yeah.
Pain, we here at Duel Logs will happily comply, giving you a good cry as the story of mediocrity continues for Dark Magician in Structure Deck Yugi Moto.
Okay.
In the Yugi-based Structure Deck, Dark Magic Inheritance was the newest card.
So this card isn't bad, but it's just problem is it's a rod.
A trap card that specifically lists Dark
a rod that needs more setup.
Still, no Eye of Timaeus search in sight, but a card that can add a piece of your choice from your deck to your hand was always a welcome addition.
Another copy of Rod, pretty much.
Warrant running this card because Rod did the same thing without needing a cost to activate.
Yep.
So the deck had a lot of search power for its spells and traps. But what about the Dark Magician itself? There wasn't any way to get a Dark Magician quick enough if you didn't have it.
Well, yes, there was Illusion Magic. He talked about Illusion Magic before. There was Illusion Magic. The Summoner art is probably released at this time. I don't know what he's going to talk about now. There's, I think Fusion Deployment is released because Fusion Deployment is like a GX era card. So you can use Fusion Deployment, lock yourself out of the fusion. But yeah, Illusion Magic is there, which can help Rod dodge Veiler, which is nice.
Draw power like Allure and Pot of Desires and Circle at the time, but nothing that gets you Dark Magician immediately or consistently to your hand. Isn't it a good time to address this issue? It seems that Konami agreed and addressed it by making a Shonen Jump promotional card in 2015.
Apprentice, one of our best sports cards.
For your deck than being forced into a subscription. Apprentice Illusion Magician was a level 6 spellcaster with 2000 attack.
This card, if you know, it gets remade in the Illusion archetype. To search any Illusion card,
special, you can add a Dark Magician from your deck.
Which is insane.
During either player's turn in the damage calculation, if a Dark Spellcaster monster battles an opponent's monster, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard to boost that monster's attack by 2000. To say Apprentice Illusion Magician was a godsend to the archetype at this time was an understatement. The deck finally had a way to get to the star of the show, all while not losing their ability to still play Rod alongside Apprentice Illusion due to Apprentice's special summoning effect.
Yeah.
Also, the attack boost effect helped your monsters get over monsters that tower over Dark Magician's attack power, like the Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, which was a tough card for the deck to out since Magic Circle was not effective.
Bro, Blue Eyes had Chaos Max during this. And this is 2016, by the way. Remember, this is 2016. So Blue Eyes wins Worlds this year. And Dark Vision is still trying to catch up.
Power standing at a whopping 4,000. Now, to address the last elephant in the room, how would you protect your back row with cards from getting
Dragon Knight
into the Shadow Realm? Dark Magician the Dragon Knight answered that question in the Legend Dragon decks. Its materials were Dark Magician and one Dragon monster. It's treated as Dark Magician while face up on the field, and while it's on the field, your opponent can't target your spell or cards with trap effects and can't destroy your spell or trap cards you control. Finally, Dark Magician players could live without fear of the Eternal Soul being destroyed and losing their board.
Yeah.
With the card also being
until modern metagame
or in the graveyard as well, Eternal Soul could grant immunity from card effects and special summon if your opponent happened to have a way to out.
Until modern metagame, like evenly.
One minor issue that Konami forgot while making this card. How are players supposed to make it? There was no dragon support that supplemented Dark Magicians without having a chance of being another brick. And we still had the ongoing issue of Eye of Timaeus not being searchable. To make this card meant more bricks to play in an already strict and struggling engine. To make things even worse, the rise of hand traps began.
Oh yeah, 2016. Damn. So Ash is 8 years old, pretty much. Yeah, Ash. All the hand traps are coming in. And one of these just deletes Dark Magician from the
Awesome Joy Spring being introduced in the TCG
from the meta.
17, and Effect Veiler still being prominent in TCG.
Yeah.
Dark Magician wasn't a deck made to go through multiple hand traps, let alone one of any choice. With the meta getting faster and decks like Zodiac and Invoke having faster effects and room to run other engines to make the deck more versatile, Dark Magician was utterly left in the dust, making it completely unable to compete with the meta. More importantly, it was still hard to summon Dark Magician on the first turn without cards like Dark Magic Veil at your disposal.
Or Fusion.
However, by the
Yeah,
time
Fusion
Dual Power
Moment.
came along in 2019, Dark Magician would have options to work for boss monsters. Dual Power really gave Dark Magicians, well, Dual Power, as it gave them a Ritual Monster, a new Fusion, and 2 new spell
Okay.
cards to help facilitate Dark Magician.
Alright, this one's bad. This one's a mid. This one's fun in ritual builds. And this one is I'll say this one is good. Kind of bricky though, but yeah.
Girl into your deck. Dark Cavalry was a level 8 fusion monster which required Dark Magician and a warrior monster to be made. Cavalry gained 100 attack for each spell and trap card on the field and in the graveyard, inflict piercing damage, and when a card or effect targeted a card on the field, you could discard 1 card from your hand and negate the effect and destroy the card. Magician of Chaos was a level 7 ritual.
This card is
Chaos
cool.
form to be summoned. It's treated as Dark Magician while on the field.
I like how it's Dark
Graveyard,
Magician and
if
it
card
pops.
effect is activated, you can pop 1 card in the field once per turn. If it's destroyed, special summon a Blackluster Soldier or Chaos monster from your hand.
Special
or
Chaos
summon
Max.
Bond between teacher and student is a spell card that special summons.
This
Dark
sets up
Magician
Dark
from your
Burning
hand
Magic,
or
which is
graveyard
cool.
if you control a Dark Magician. Then you can set either a Dark Magic attack, Dark Burning Magic, Dark Burning attack, or Dark Magic Twin Burst directly from your deck. Speaking of the newest style of Dark Magical
Ain't nobody
attacks,
playing
Dark
those,
Magical
so-
Twin Burst was the newest spell from Dual Power. Target 1 Dark Magician you control, and then it'll gain attack equal to the number of Dark Magician girls in the field or your graveyard until the end of your turn. So much variety was given to the archetype. What made it better was that even though the archetype couldn't go to Eye of Timaeus, they did get to Polymerization and Fusion Substitute due to Keeper of Dragon Magic.
Oh, yeah.
Players also would tech in Magical Ice Fusion to fuse resources from your graveyard to get extract monsters onto the field. Both these cards help make Amulet Dragon and Dark Magician the Dragon Knight much more accessible, thanks to being a Dragon type. However, that didn't help with Cavalry because Cavalry needed a Warrior type monster as a requirement. The deck already had limited space and couldn't afford to run another brick. That would also
More
be this deck's
bricks.
major issue as more support came along. Specific cards began to clash with the deck and didn't synergize mechanics-wise. If you wanted to run Magician of Chaos, you can't use Dark Burning
Yeah.
Magic because it needs
Original
original name is Dark Magician. Need to run Dark Burning Magic, then say goodbye to Magician of Chaos as you'd need to tech in room for Bond and Dark Magician Girl, and less room for ritual powers like Perpetual Rites and Chaos Max. There was just little to no room to run all 3 forms of the deck, and if you did,
Yeah,
there would be
you have to
almost
split
no
off the
way to
deck.
get all 3 win mechanics.
You have to
together.
split off the deck Fusion, Ritual, and pretty much Pure with the control style. You might be able to mix like Fusion and the control style because you want Dragon out on the field, but Ritual really just, you have to split off Ritual from the rest of the deck. Or it has to be like the only thing you're doing, or you have to make like a small engine like how Brain of Fusion is used. But yeah, you have to split off the deck here.
That's also not including the fact that by 2019, hand traps were in full effect, completely stopping decks that couldn't play through multiple ones. Dark Magician was, at this point, a first turn or bust deck that couldn't run all the support given without conflicting, and was, at this point, too slow. It really needed something that could help it get to the original Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl while being able to keep up with the meta that establishes
please.
boards in the blink of an eye.
Souls gets
That
abused.
card was created in Legendary Duelist Magic.
Alright, this is Dark Magicians.
Magician
Yeah.
Souls was a level 1
There we go.
spellcaster. You could send up to 2 spell or trap cards from your side of the
So
field.
this card is still $20. Let's go check on TCG Player. This card is still $26 to this day because it's so good in all other decks. Yeah, $24. This card is. It's getting reprinted in the Rarity Collection too, so I'm waiting to get my DM core there. But yeah, this card is still good. Abused in Spiral, abused in so many other decks. Adventure to get free draws. Yeah.
And to the graveyard to
So I'm
draw
gonna talk
graveyard
about that,
cards.
but yeah.
And once per turn,
This card
you
is
can
also
send a
good for
level
us.
6 or higher spellcaster from your deck to the graveyard to either special summon this card from your hand, or special summon a Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from your graveyard. There's a reason why this card is one of the best cards in the game to this
Best
day.
cards in the
It's a
game.
free body, an extender that helps you get rid of dead spells and trap cards like old magical circles on your field, and could get you a free Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl based on what your needs are for your plays. This card made Dark Magicians shoot to the mountaintop. Oh, sorry, that was a typo. We meant spirals and
That was a typo. Oh nah. Yeah, Spiral and Outledge. Yep. I don't know. I didn't know Outledge played this card, but I definitely knew Spiral abused this for Master Plan.
Glitch. Basically, any deck that can run Magician Souls ran Magician Souls due to its sound effects. being an extender for Link in single plays, and even a graveyard setup for spells and traps that worked better in the graveyard. In fact, you could say it was one of the sole reasons that Spiral made another
Tier
big comeback,
0.
as combined with Spiral Master Plan by sending it to the
Got
grave
Master Plan
to either
banned.
use Quick Fix to fetch Big Red to bring back Master Plan, or use Magician's Effect to send the spells and traps to the grave to draw 2 cards, and then use their graveyard effects of rescues to bring back Master Plan. No matter how you chose to do it, you could do no wrong. 2 things can be taken away from Souls. 1 is Master Plan did nothing wrong. 2 is that Magician Souls is a phenomenal
Master Plan did nothing wrong. Yeah. People were scared back when this card got released and Spiral was tier 0 that they would ban Magician Souls. But of course they had to ban the Master Plan. You can't ban the Yuki archetype card.
It continues to be one of the most consistent engines in the game.
With
Though
Illusion of
it's really
Chaos.
good in the archetype it was built for, it was even better in actual competitive Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Dark Magician support still got better from there. The Dark Magicians was a fusion
This card
monster
is
with
good.
a Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl, or Spellcaster Monster. Once per turn, if your opponent activates a spell or trap card, you can draw 1 card. And if it's a spell or trap card, you can set it face down your side of the field, and activate it that turn. When the Dark Magicians leaves the field, you get to special summon a Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl from your hand, deck, or graveyard. This was a great fusion for this archetype. No matter what spell or trap card your opponent decides to activate, you get a +1 and possibly a new card to activate if you draw a Quick Play or a trap card. Plus, you get 2 free bodies if this card is destroyed to make up for the materials used for the fusion summon. The monster out of the set boosted the Ultimate Wizard, but the spell and trap card support did wonders for them. Let's start with Soul
Oh
Stone.
yeah.
This is a quick play spell card.
That's a good
1
card.
from your hand, deck, or graveyard. That's Dark Magician.
Perfect
which
with
is a
Circle.
list Dark Magician on top of your
Highest
deck.
healing in the deck.
And during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard to draw cards equal to the number of Palladia monsters, Dark Magicians, or Dark Magician Girls with different names on your field or in your graveyard. Secrets of Dark Magic was another quick play that lets you
Oh yeah,
activate one of these
Secrets.
effects. Either fusion summon 1 fusion monster from extra
Yeah,
deck
this
and
set
monsters
was
from your hand
insane.
to
We
your
got
field.
Souls, we got Soul Servant, we got Secrets, we got the Dark Magicians.
Including Dark Magician or Dark
Cards that
Magician
are still
Girl.
played
You can
to
draw
this
4
to this
ritual
day.
summon 1 ritual monster by tributing monsters, including Dark Magician or Dark
This is
Magician
probably
Girl,
the
as long as
best
equal or
set
exceed
of
the
Dark
ritual
Magician
monsters.
support we've ever
Finally, to
gotten.
round out the legendary hero
Except
support,
for this card.
Magician's Combination was their continuous trap card that can negate the activation of an opponent's
This card
attack
is
by
very
tributing
hard to
Dark
set up.
Magician or Dark Magician Girl, then special summon a Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl with a different name from the monster attributed from your hand or graveyard. If this card is destroyed or faces
Well, 4 out of 5 isn't
isn't
bad though.
It's safe to say this is the best support for this archetype to date.
Yeah.
In one set, they received one of the best engines in the game, a new fusion monster that lets you net pluses, a chainable spell card that organizes your decks and gives you draw powers that you can use on the same turn that you play it, a ritual and fusion spell all in one, and a negation, subsequently becoming part of the Staples Magician's Triangle play, an end board consisting of Magician's Circle, Combination, and Eternal Soul.
Were we really playing combination back then?
Plus 1 Dark Magician fusion monster, mostly being Dark Magician the Dragon Knight.
I would
Eternal
cut
Soul
this one out and then put these 3, but yeah.
The
Sure.
Dragon Knight, and Dragon Knight protects your back row with a special summoning and banish and a negate. So how do you lose with all this support? How do you fail in a meta as the franchise poster boy with all of this at your disposal? As much as your end board sounded great,
Get even
it was
lead.
inconsistent. As
Yeah,
just
too
trying to
good
get to the
consistent.
setup costs so many resources. Even then, it was possible that you wouldn't get a full end board due to needing specific pieces. Just because you have a Magician's Souls and Magical Circle, you might still miss a piece due to whiffing on the circle or not having Rod. Maybe you don't have a bond between teacher and student and you don't get your Dark Magician Girl for
Yeah.
combination. Or you just brick due to drawing Dark Magician who
You
became Guardian
draw
from your deck and
three
also
Dark
put down.
Magicians
Guardians
and
and
1
Hard
Dark
Ones
Magician
return
Girl.
cards had players seething, looking at multiple copies of certain cards like Circle or Eternal
Yeah.
Soul. It also made it hard to run non-engine cards as your engine suffered from not seeing your combo pieces. So even though it can run cards like Secret Village of Spellcasters or Skill Drain, you'll clog up your regular end board more than help it. Let's not forget that Eternal Soul was still a massive liability on the field, even with Dragon Knight being in your arsenal, as the dragon options you had were not that searchable. It didn't help that the end board wasn't as threatening as it sounds, as by this point, almost any deck in the format can play through 1 negation and a card banishment.
Yeah.
This would be the only combo this archetype would be known for years. This style would end up being dated and unable to hold up in the format. The deck was bound for Master Duel, casual play, and being amazing in Duel Links.
Oh yeah,
Of course,
Duel
the
Links.
impact it made on the meta was to give better decks Magician's Soul.
Wonder
However,
when we'll
Dark
get
Magician
Souls
would
in Duel
manage to
Links.
metagame again with another card that I'm sure everybody is tired of hearing about. Tin of Memories gave us one of the most powerful cards in the current game, Red Eyes Dark
Oh,
Hero. It takes a
yeah.
Dark Magician and a Red Eyes
Oh yeah. So Dragoon, Verte Anaconda. That's pretty much all I have to say. Oh, used in other decks more than Dark Magician because of Verte. Um, this card is probably our best fusion, and I don't think it will ever be tops. Best fusion in the in our deck. Best boss monster.
Effect monster to make. Comes with 3,000 attack, 2,500 defense. And if you don't know what this card does by now, let's give you the skinny of it. It can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. It can negate a card or effect of discarding one card and destroyed it, and giving it a 1,000 attack boost permanently. It can pop monsters on the field to inflict burn damage equal to the monster's original attack, and you can use that destruction effect up to the number of times as its fusion materials, which were normal monsters. Strength and Unity was their newest continuous build. Whenever you ritual summon or fusion summon using Dark Magician or Blue Eyes White Dragon, you can target one card your opponent controls or in the graveyard and banish it. You can also send this face-up card from your field to the graveyard to target a level 7 or higher normal monster in your grave and add it to your hand or shuffle into your deck. Destined Rivals was their newest trap card that negated the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent's out of the field into the end of the turn if you controlled a Dark Magician or Blue Eyes.
Destined Rivals.
Imagine having an archetype.
This was continuous, would be cool.
Deck specifically made for your deck, and your deck is still not a top deck. Dragoon was remarkable in its archetype, and like Souls, was way better in every.
Yeah. See, the history repeats itself. Soul is better in other archetypes than Dark Magician. Dragoon better in other archetypes than Dark Magician, and then further on, Illusion of Chaos better in other archetypes because of Souls in Dark Magician. Guru played Red Eyes Fusion because they don't need their normal summon. You just set Guru, activate Red Eyes Fusion, have a free negate and a hard to out boss monster, and they have all their traps. Verte.
It was made even more runnable thanks to the degeneracy of Predaplant Verte Anaconda. This link too was easy to make with its requirements just being any to affect monsters, and you can pay 2,000 life points to send a Poly or a fusion spell from your deck to the grave to have Anaconda become that card's effect. So, after players finish their end board, all they do is link it to Anaconda, send a copy of Red Eyes Fusion to the grave, and send their 2 normal monster garnets from their deck to the graveyard to get Dragoon on the field. Why make a big case out of this when Dark Magician could do it too? Simple. Other decks just made better and more threatening end boards with Dragoon. The deck still had the issues of using so many resources for setup that it was hard to make a complete end board and have Dragoon on it. Second, other decks had more consistency. They can Dragoon without bricking, unlike Dark Magician, who had to incorporate room to run the other brick in their engine while battling the flurry of hand traps running rampant in 2020. Lastly, Dragoon is so good that it could be run in a deck solely based on Why go through all
that Striker in the OTG played this.
Red Eyes Fusion was an easy Dragoon turn 1 insurgible thanks to Red Eyes Insight. If it was Ash, you could simply go the Anaconda route as planned and still get to Dragoon while setting up the back row. Strength and Unity never saw play.
It's really bad.
Edition, and Destined Rivals was a simple one-up with a great payoff for its effect requirements and an excellent target for Soul Servant to pop on top of the deck or grab Magician Circles or the Dark Magician's draw effect. All you have to do is ensure your Dark Magician is on the field. We have their newest support appear in the Tin of Ancients battles to continue with
the Salvation.
Sadness. Magician's
Raid of Sadness. Damn. I knew what I signed up for when I clicked on this video, but damn, the Salvation.
That, on activation, lets you set an Eternal Soul directly from your deck. And if you normal summon or special summon a Dark Magician...
Just cut off the rest of the effect. That's all we play for. Set Eternal Soul.
Girl,
next.
You can then target that monster,
send it away for souls to draw, pretty much.
Name that monster targeted from your graveyard. The card gave players another way to go into Eternal Soul, and could get your magical duo if you summoned either of them to the field. Salvation made it easy for you to set up fetching 1/3 of the back row for the Magician's Triangle, and help with the requirements to make the Dark Magicians or set up the Dark Burning Magic. However, with this added to the deck, it becomes another game of getting all the resources again. Another piece meant another resource needed for an already cloggy and restrictive setup that already had a significant amount of hard once per turn spells and traps, and the ongoing issues of fetching all your pieces to get your full end board that was becoming more and more dated with each format. And it seemed that Konami wasn't hell-bent on fixing it. At least they kept giving you shiny cards like ones in the back.
Here we go.
Illusion of Chaos was a level 7
That's
ritual monster.
One of our best cards.
With Chaos form. You can reveal this card from your hand to add a Dark Magician or a non-ritual monster that mentions it from your deck to your hand, then return 1 card from your hand to the top of your deck. Also, when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can return this card to your hand, special summon a Dark Magician from your graveyard, and if you do, negate the activation of that monster. Magic Karibo was a level 1 Fiend monster that lets you special
this card is decent, but it's just too slow.
Graveyard, by
slow.
sending this card from your hand to the graveyard during the main phase or battle phase. If a face-up spellcaster you control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can add this card from your graveyard to your hand. Timaeus, the United Dragon, was a level
This
8
card
dragon monster that lets you send one
too slow. It
spellcaster.
should have worked like Cartesia. You know how Cartesia, if you control Albaz or you have Albaz in the graveyard, you can special summon it for free. If you control Dark Magician, you should be able to special summon this for free. Or if you control a spell trap that messes Dark Magician, you also special summon this card for free. Goes away 2/2, but it's decent. You probably play this as a one of in most decks.
Or spell trap card that mentions Dark Magician on the field in your hand to the graveyard to special summon it from your hand. During the main phase, you can fusion summon using monsters from your hand or field as materials, including a spellcaster monster. Finally, Master of Chaos was a level.
This card is good for OTKs and outing some board states.
If it's fusion summoned, you can target a light or dark monster in your graveyard and special summon it. You can tribute a light or dark monster on your side of the field to banish all cards your opponent controls. And if
banish all cards, did you really say banish all cards? Banish all monsters. Not that good.
Monster. If it's fusion summoned, you can target a light or dark monster in your graveyard and special summon it. You can tribute a light or dark monster on your side of the field to banish all cards your opponent
controls. Banish all monsters. It's not that good.
Controls. And if this fusion summon card is
imagine it was banish all cards.
You can target it on your grave and add it to your hand. Two cards stood out from the bunch that screamed solid support. Timaeus was a viable built-in dragon monster that helped make the archetype's life easier.
Or no, they had Illusion of Chaos 2 with preps.
Illusion of Chaos was a monster that could finally add Dark Magician or Dark Magician specific monsters from your deck to your hand without a normal
place back bricks,
which the deck severely lacked.
Such a good card.
A great way to get the monsters needed for a successful combo, including your new Timaeus card. It was also searchable with Preparation of Rites, giving you an easy access.
5 copies of Illusion of Chaos.
Process. Nothing abusable here, except Illusion of Chaos, searching out monsters that include Dark Magician in their tax, meant you could get Magician's
here we go again.
It was still a popular engine outside of Dark Magicians that other decks enjoyed using. All Illusion of Chaos did was make it easier to get souls, and made souls easier to summon since you can just pull Illusion back on top of your deck after searching for souls. Then use souls as an illusion from top of your deck to the graveyard to special summon it. Add the aforementioned preparation, and you get a free 7 to 8 card engine that nets you an extra body for plays and a free draw engine. As for Dark Magician, they got more feasible cards, though the cloggy, inconsistent engine that set up incomplete boards lost a draw and lockdown.
Droll. So Droll, as you know, Droll has taken over. It's taken over probably all 3 formats at this point. We're in a Droll format in the TCG, the OCG, and the Master Duel. Master Duel, you have to play either Gamma to stop Droll, or you have to play Called By or with Crossout, or if you're playing your own Droll. Because we lose to Droll. If we prep and we search Illusion of Chaos, you get Droll, you do nothing. If you get Droll on Illusion of Chaos, Rod is not searching anything, and then you're not really playing the game. So, yeah, we lose to Droll, and then other decks can play through Droll.
The rest of 2022 didn't really get any good.
This card.
Chronicle Magician was released from Ghost from the Past.
This card and Sorceress was disappointing.
As the deck didn't benefit from giving an attack boost to Dark Magician, that wouldn't be on the field before being used for whatever action I play. What did give the deck some life was the new Bestial monsters. They were dark and light dragon.
Yeah, Bestials.
Bestials being able to remove light or dark monsters on either.
Bestials, yay! Banish our Dark Magician. Yep.
Graveyard to special summon themselves.
But they're dragons, so they're cool.
Also became quick effects if your opponent had a monster on the side of the field, making them pseudo hand traps if going second. With these cards, Dark Magicians could have cards that can establish a board presence, become a material for link and fusion plays, and interrupt your opponent's graveyard plays. They're great counters to Tearlaments in 2022, which meant everyone was running Bestials, as Tearlaments.
But Bestials counter us as well.
But that also became an issue to your archetype, as most of your monsters were dark monsters, including the Dark Magician. Placing any critical piece you needed in the graveyard was risky in the Tearlaments format, as Bestial cards would just
and the Ishizu Shufflers
or Dark Magician Girl to stop your plays. Tearlaments had the Ishizu cards that could mill or return cards from the graveyard to the deck to stop you from having access to your garnets. With this competition, even with Bestials on your side, Dark Magician playstyle just wasn't good. And the investments weren't worth the reward.
They're so down bad playing Soldier.
Because it and Dragoon were run in Branded, as making Dragoon was easy thanks to the effect of Fallen of Albaz. If Dark Magician continued to get support, it needed a card to help them make an entire board, not use so many resources, and to help with their outdated and expired.
Yeah, we need it. We need that.
Hopefully, they'll print that card soon. Here's a card not seen play from as a legend, Monstrous Revenge.
Forgot we got this card.
Dark Magician, the Knight of Dragon Magic, was a level 8 dragon fusion. It inflicted piercing damage, burned your opponent.
Card is just a disgrace.
And when this monster is destroyed, you can special summon both Dark Magician and Gaia the Dragon Champion from your hand deck, extra deck, or graveyard. Exactly what the archetype needed, piercing damage and Gaia the Dragon Champion. This card was slotted into decks at 0 points. So far, this is the note that Dark Magician sadly sinks on. Now, before you grab your pitchforks, wands, deck boxes, and platinum rarity Dark Magician, we must clarify how this deck is a fail and how it slid into failed cards and mechanics. It's not just about if the cards mesh well together. It's not about the impact each solo card has in the meta like Souls, Dragoon, or Illusion of Chaos. It's not about the rare times it topped a regional or how many times Team Samurai X or Machi...
Oh, Machi! Machi! Respect! Machi got into a Duelogs video. Let's go! And of course Team Samurai. Yeah, every few weeks it's a new Dark Magician, but yeah, Machi.
Deck on the channel, and it's damn well not about if it's fun. We're talking about when it all comes down to the amount of support the deck has been given and the chance of competing with the meta. Did it do great as a deck that should be praised? The answer is no. The investment, time, and definitely money isn't worth putting into a deck that hasn't etched out the results we were expecting it to give. The end board is
I still have hope,
even with a good hand. Its strong engine does way more work in other meta combo decks, and with all that said and done, even if you get a solid board, Dark Magician boards at the end of it all are easier to play through or breakable depending on the monsters brought out. It also was an abysmal going second deck, having trouble going through multiple negates, and even on its turn had problems going through hand traps, especially Drone Lockbird or Ash Blossom. Finally, the engine was so strict that even Dark Magician decks ran a
only two
engines inside their deck. The Magic Triangle deck takes a back seat if you incorporate other engines like Branded Package because it's more substantial than a basic lineup of Dark Magician cards. The amount of support that has been given repeatedly proves that it's quality over quantity, especially in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So, the tough to swallow pill has been handed down on Dark Magician. If you like this deck, then by all means, play it. Dark Magician has been the poster boy for our child in the face of Yu-Gi-Oh! Who wouldn't want it to succeed? It needs a little bit more help to dig out of the Shadow Realm and be the dominant force we've seen on our TV screens for many years. Hopefully, this doesn't upset all of you too much either. It's not like we have more hot takes coming in.
Oh no.
Right?
They're gonna make a Blue Eyes video. He's gonna make a Blue Eyes video. But yeah. So pretty much, yeah, he pretty much talked about every point, how our boards are not too easy, too hard to make, too inconsistent, and that they can be beaten very easily. Yeah, and how all of our cards, all of our good cards, like our top tier cards like Dragoon and Illusion of Chaos and Souls, can just be abused in other archetypes better than us. Yeah, it's really unfortunate, but I still have hope. Hopefully by the end of the 25th anniversary, we get something, a fusion from deck spell, a link monster, just something to make Dark Magician more consistent. But yeah, as you can say, alright, we have almost 10 years of Copium. Hope you guys enjoyed this different kind of content reaction. I just had to make this as I saw this come from my feed. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Peace out.